Tupel. Most of you know me, I think. I'm a lifelong resident of Lawrence County, 5th generation. My great-great-grandfather came here in 1878, so Terry's had me beat by 2 years, but came here and prospected for gold and eventually was the postmaster of the town of Trojan, and we've been here ever since. Graduated Lead High School. I have an undergraduate degree in agriculture from South Dakota State University. Moved back to Lawrence County and have lived here and worked here ever since. I'm currently completing a master's in business administration from Black Hills State University, part of the first cohort of that program up there. It's been a long-standing goal I had, and I'll finish that this year. Involved in the real estate business in Lawrence County. I'm at RE/MAX in the Hills. Also have a small townhouse development south of Kmart, and have done some construction, looking at building some townhouses here this year to add some property tax to the tax rolls for those county commissioners to tax and put money into the schools. I served in the legislature from 2001 to 2004. It was a great privilege of mine to serve you as your state representative and held the seat that Chuck Turbeville is vacating because of term limits. I served on the House Taxation Committee, the House State Affairs Committee, and the Transportation Committee my first 2 years. I'm a member of Faith Bible Church here in Spearfish. I've been a 4-H leader in the past. Grew up in 4-H. I think that's an important youth program that we have. We'll get into all the issues here in a minute, so I think that's an adequate introduction. Look forward to visiting with you on these various issues. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank you for coming. My name is Gary Coe. People don't know who I am, so I'm just going to cover that at first, tell you who I am. I am a South Dakota native, where my grandparents homesteaded on the South Dakota prairie. After country school near the Slim Buttes, I went to Newell High School, where I met the gal of my dreams, Sandy, my wife. She's here tonight. I graduated from South Dakota State University, went there with Richard Sleep. I see he came in tonight, so if you want to know about me, ask him, but don't listen to what he has to say. Anyway, I had a degree in agriculture economics. I was commissioned after that as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. Later became a captain, served in Vietnam in that capacity. So after Spearfish actually was my first home when I came home from the war. But anyway, Sandy and I have lived primarily in Perkins, Butte, and Meade counties until our recent purchase of a home in Lead. So anyway, my wife and I, Sandy and I have traveled extensively over the last few years, but I've always kept one foot in South Dakota. I love this area, the Black Hills and the ranching and farming country north of where I was born and raised. In recent years, Sandy and I spent a lot of quality time on the East Coast in Virginia. I was very impacted by several things. One of them was the cross that the first people here in 1607 planted on that beach, dedicated this land to the glory of God and to His Son, Jesus Christ. That cross is still there. It's called the First Landing, if you don't know about it already. But I was also impacted, how much? I was also impacted by the battlefields, the war memorials, the cemeteries, and all the way down the East Coast. Much blood has been shed for our freedom. I am a war veteran. I have seen it at firsthand. So conservative, God-fearing men established and preserved our freedoms as they crafted and debated our Constitution. Their main interest was to establish rule by the people in this land. By the government, they had studied ancient world governments and worried about socialism creeping into our nation one day. I'll finish later. Thank you very much.
Good evening, folks. My name is Tim Johns. I'm a resident of Lead. I was born, raised, and educated here in South Dakota. I graduated from the University of South Dakota Law School back way back. Thank you. 1974, and I've lived in the Black Hills area since. I have 38 years of experience both with local and state governments. I've served as a county attorney, a city attorney, school board attorney, a fire district attorney. I was 30 years on the bench as a judge in Lawrence County, and I currently sit on the South Dakota Board of Minerals and Environment. So I'm familiar with the gold mines, the oil fields, everything that has to do with your environment. We deal with pretty much, including gravel pits. I have quite a bit of experience. I'm very committed to public service. I've been involved in it throughout my entire professional career, and I want to serve you as your representative for District 30. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Jerry, for emceeing tonight's program. My name's Fred Romkema. I moved here in 1972. I was raised on a small farm in eastern South Dakota. I'm a Californian. I moved here when I was 1 year old. Not too many people know that, and I don't admit it very often. Don't hold that against me, please. But anyway, I was raised on a small farm, no indoor plumbing, so on. Moved here in 1972 with a master's degree from the University of South Dakota in speech pathology. I worked for the public schools for 4 years, and then I started a nonprofit corporation serving adults with disabilities, and I've run that program for 36 years since. Along the way, this county, this community have treated me extremely well. I was honored to have served as mayor and city council for 17 years, from the late 70s to the middle 90s. I took a break and then was elected to the state legislature. And as was stated previously, the experience to learn that process is critical. It's an extremely complex process, particularly appropriations. It's been cited there's two reasons, two things that happen here. One is money, and the other is everything else. I'm very fortunate to be on the Appropriations Committee, which is a group of 19 people who spend $4 billion of your taxpayer dollars, $4 billion. The first term I was on Health and Human Services and on local government. I've served on a hospital board, the local board, and the large board that governs all the hospitals in the Black Hills.
30 seconds.
I've been on the hospice board, on bank boards, economic development boards, local Kiwanis, lots of volunteer organizations since I've been in Spearfish. I very much appreciate your vote, and we'll discuss some issues here in a minute. Thank you.